Marcy, if I start while she's doing that, can you start? Okay. Because I hit the button just. Are we good? Yeah. All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Placer County Board of Supervisors meeting for Tuesday, November 4th, 2025. Glad you could all join us. We are going to begin this morning with a flag salute led by Supervisor Jones.
Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Supervisor Jones. All right, we will begin with the consent agenda, and all items on the consent agenda have been recommended for approval by the County Executive Department. All items will be approved by a single roll call vote. The board will convene as the Placer County Housing Authority for item number 20A. Anyone may ask to address consent items prior to the board taking action, and the item may be removed for discussion. So we're going to remove item 12A, 16A, 19C. Is there anyone else, first of all, on the board who would like to remove an item for discussion? All right, is there anyone in the public who would like to remove an item from the consent agenda? All right, then seeing none, we'll bring it back to the board for action.
I'll move approval of the remaining consent calendar items.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second, and roll call vote, please.
Landon?
Yes.
DiMattei?
Yes.
Jones?
Aye.
Gustafson? Aye. Gore?
Aye. Thank you. All right, we will next take item 12A, and this is a proclamation recognizing November 9th through November 14th, 2025 as National Nurse Practitioner Week in Placer County. So we have signed a proclamation for National Nurse Practitioner Week. We were asked to put this item on the agenda, and so I wanted to just recognize it verbally, say thank you to folks who work so hard in our healthcare profession as nurse practitioners. They do an amazing job, and we're fortunate to have four strong healthcare systems here in Placer County and the Sacramento area. So I wanted to just acknowledge that. Anyone like to make a comment? And I'll open it up to the public for any comment. And I will close public comment, bring it back to the board for action.
I'll move approval.
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion by Gustafson, second by Jones. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next is item 16A, and I understand we have some staff. Good morning.
Good morning, Chair Gore and members of the board. I'm Michelle Lewis with Engineering and Surveying. We had received a request from the applicant to continue this item to December 9th, to the December 9th board hearing, and we'd like to accommodate that request, so I'm here today to request that continuance.
All right, thank you very much. Let's see, any questions? All right, do I need to open it up to the public? So I'll open this item up to the public, the request to move this to December 9th. Bring it back to the board.
We have a hand raised.
And we have a
Let's
hand raised.
ensure that it's...
For this item, which is 16A.
Diane, were you wanting to speak on item 16A?
Actually not. I did not hear for open comment. I just got logged in and you guys did the flag salute and marched on, far as I could tell.
We will take public comment once we conclude with the consent items.
Okay. All right. Sorry, I misunderstood that you held out that many consent items. Okay, thank you.
Where was I? All right, so bringing it back to the board. And so the action is to continue this item to December 9th. All right.
Move that we continue this item to December 9th.
I'll second.
Thank you. Motion by Gustafson, second by Jones. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And next we have 19C, And Daniel, you're going to say something about that, and you can tell us what it is.
Thank you, Chair Gore, members of the board. We did receive a request to recognize and honor Miss Christy Simpson, who submitted a very nice letter to the board this earlier today or yesterday, and so we wanted to invite Twyla up to say a few words.
And this is actually Adoption Awareness Month, so go ahead, Twyla. Good
I'll
morning.
go ahead and present the Adoption Awareness Month and then say either a few words. Thank you, Daniel, for doing that. So good morning, Chair Gore, supervisors, Mr. Chatney, obviously, Ms. Schwab, Twyla Abrahamson, Director for the Children's System of Care. Nice to see you all here today. So since 1976, a week in November of every year has been reserved to raise awareness about the need for adoptive families and for children in the foster care system. It has evolved over time to become a month-long celebration and opportunity to recognize the efforts of those whose lives have been impacted by adoption and those who facilitate the process. So National Adoption Awareness Month encourages individuals, families, and communities to celebrate adoption as a positive way to grow families and help children leave foster care. So each year, many organizations celebrate this and raise awareness of the more than 100,000 children waiting to be adopted from foster care. The campaign draws attention to the importance of child welfare professionals, of which Christy is one, helping young people build and sustain lifelong networks of support and community that provides a sense of belonging and relational permanency. Adoption Awareness Month also highlights the fact that children are still waiting for families. More than 1 in 5 children waiting for adoption were ages 13 to 17, and the average age of all children waiting to be adopted was 7.5. They also wait, on average, 34 months to be adopted. So Placer County has finalized 12 adoptions so far this year in 2025 and anticipates finalizing 8 more on Adoption Day, which is being held this year on November 8th. At the historic courthouse, 9 o'clock in the morning to 12. We have all sorts of fun things, petting zoo, games for children. Many of you show up. It's a wonderful time. So we are also requesting this as a board action, as approve a proclamation declaring November 2025 as Adoption Awareness Month. There's no fiscal impact as a result of this action. But what I would like to say is, thank you, Daniel, that your board received a letter about Christy Simpson. Christy has been here, and Christy, if you want to stand up for a minute. She hates this. Christy has been working for the Children's System of Care in Placer County for nearly 30 years now, and she is here also with our adoptions team, who also I'd like them to stand up for a minute, at least, and receive a round of applause.
Yeah.
Thank you, ladies. And thank you. You can sit down. But Christy, let's turn to you. Your board received an absolutely fabulous letter from one of Christy's families that she has been working with for a long time, and I'd just like to read a little bit of it. She wanted to formally recognize and honor a Placer County employee. She said over 15 years, and I do want to just emphasize that, over 15 years. This doesn't mean that Christy was a social worker, a supervisor for this family that entire time. She didn't have to be. She stayed in their life to make sure that they were stable and they had all the things that they needed. That wasn't exactly what the letter says. Anyway, she says that Christy stands in a league of her own, not just as a county worker, but as a model public servant and human being. She said that Christy entered their lives when her daughter, who's now 15 years old, was just an infant, and remained consistently involved as both a social worker and supervising social worker through the adoption process, support that went beyond and above standard duty. She said that Christy, sets her apart is her professionalism, though she was always organized, responsive, and thorough, but it was her humanity. She listened without judgment, advocated without hesitation, and treated us not as a case, but as people. She worked long hours, and gosh knows she still does, far beyond expectation, never once made us feel like a burden, and she said that when burnout is common and turnover is frequent, Christy remained a steady, dependable presence. She balanced firmness and compassion, structure with empathy, and diplomacy with authentic care. And she embodies what every county hopes their staff will become, a true advocate for children and families. So there is much more to this letter, but I just wanted to say a little bit of that. So I know that you also asked for us to bring Christy here, so we did. And I just want to say I'm so very blessed to be able to work with Christy and have been for the last 20 years, even though she's been here even longer, and the wonderful adoption team of who we have many of them here today. So thank you so much for allowing us to do this today.
Twyla, thank you so much for sharing the proclamation about Adoption Awareness Day, and thank you to you and your team for all the hard work you have been doing year in and year out. We really appreciate it, and so I'm so glad we had the opportunity, because of this wonderful letter, Christy, to acknowledge the work that you all do. I'm sure I've got some comments from my colleague, Supervisor Landon.
Thank you. Thanks, Twyla. I really appreciate you bringing this forward again this year. As you know, this is an issue near and dear to my heart, with 4 of our 5 kids being adopted from foster care. And so just really want to say thank you to your team, especially. The work you do does not go unnoticed. And Christy, I can't even say, for someone to write a letter with so much admiration for you really just speaks to you as a person. And I love that she highlighted your humanity, because I know for us going through the process, we had many social workers that turned over very frequently, as you mentioned. But there's one social worker for us in particular who I still keep in touch with, and now it's been 20 plus years. And so thank you for doing such an amazing job and being an incredible representation of Placer County, and for all of you advocating for adoptees and foster kids, and to you, Twyla, as well.
Thank you. All right, I want to open this item up to the public, and so if anybody in the public would like to make a comment, or Christy or anybody on the team would like to say anything, you're welcome to. All right, don't see anyone. We do have somebody online.
Diane, did you want to comment on this item? No, we can
Okay.
move on.
All right, then let's go ahead, we'll close this item, and we need to have a motion for approval.
I will move approval.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Landon, second by DiMattei. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Thank you so much, everyone. Really
Thank you.
appreciate you being here today.
We'll see you all.
Looks like that is the end of our consent agenda, so now is the opportunity for public comment. This is an opportunity for people to comment on items that are not on our agenda. We ask that you keep your comments to 3 minutes. And as a reminder, the board cannot take action on items that come before us during public comment. So, good morning.
Hi, good morning. My name's Annette Tomlin. How's everybody? I hope doing well. All right. First of all, mental health facility. I see the green ribbons. Thank you very much. Can't begin to tell you how much that means to me. I am still shooting for a mental health facility, comprehensible one, bringing people in to help others, to help people who live with mental illness. Right now, what I'm seeing, I don't like. I see not only adults, but I see the youth being given medication. Okay, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they're taking these at the same time. Now, one thing that came to my attention is apparently the benzodiazepines, not a good mix with this. What it's doing is it's causing them to crave, and what they're craving aren't drugs that are, prescribed. It's what is on the street. Okay? We need to pay attention to this. Be very careful. Okay? Like I said, our youth. I look and I saw one young man lay down 5 bottles. Are you kidding me? No. Let's start with one, see how it goes, take our time, just as we would for anything that was happening to us physically. Thank you. All right. Women. It's come to my attention there are a lot of women who choose not to be in the shelter, and I know why, because there's abuse there. And not only that, but at Tent City, there are convicted felons there. And why? Abusing women. But yet, apparently, it seems to be okay to mix that together. It's not. This is not good for the safety of the women in the community, the unhoused. I'd like to see them actually get an area where they can park their cars, because a lot of them are living in their cars because this is what they choose, obviously, instead of being abused. And I would know because I made that choice more than once. What I'm asking for is just, let's go on ahead and do, give them a bathroom, let them in, let them out, and wish them well. Now, my biggest thing here is I'm here in reference to Jim Holmes and his cronies. I've had my housing block. I've had them try to mentally break me down. Doesn't look like they've been very successful, because here I am standing here speaking to let everybody know. Yes. Brandon Hires and Manny are a part of it. You will hear for the rest. It's been 7 years.
Annette, we need to have you wrap up, please.
Okay. They have involved families and the manager at Palm Terrace. I actually saw Manny speaking to one of my neighbors who seems to think it's funny to do mental abuse. I'm here so the public can hear this, and so that I don't want to be abused anymore. I'm tired of it and I'm done. That's all. Now for this gentleman, pickleball courts, Forest Hill.
Well, Annette, let's have you wrap up. And
I did
then-
wrap up. I wrapped up by saying I'm done with this all. I will no longer be abused in this way. One person I'd like to thank, Larry, thank you for holding my hand through this whole thing. I wish you all well. Thank you very much for your time. It's appreciated.
Thank you for your comments, Annette. Good morning, Jennifer.
Good morning, Jennifer, Placer County. I'm just here to talk a little bit about the Hope Way project, about this roundabout, and about the Penryn Parkway, or Penryn Business Parkway. The Business Parkway wasn't developed to impede business. The Business Parkway was developed to create business and have the businesses flourish, right? That would be why that would be developed. But if we put this roundabout in, it's going to create a lot of problems for the businesses there. The businesses there need access to big 18-wheeler trucks, semi-trucks. There's gas stations there. And if you went to the meeting, I think it was October 1st, people who own those areas came up and said, one lady, I didn't catch her name, but she said, I'm the largest revenue holder for Penryn, and this is going to make my business lose money. And so I know Placer County really supports small businesses, and I appreciate that so much about you guys, and it makes me proud, because small business is what builds everything. It gives jobs to people so they can afford housing, so we don't have an affordable housing crisis. And when we make it hard to do business in California, people leave. We've had a lot of people leave California because it's very difficult to do things in California. And so while I know that's not a health and safety concern for this project, we're shooting ourselves in the foot. And I just hope you guys will think about that a little bit. The other issue too is with this roundabout coming through there, I really hope you guys will ask for a really big comprehensive traffic study, because I've been on that exit when it's backed up into the freeway already, and I don't think a roundabout's gonna fix that. It's also gonna start impacting the Newcastle on and off ramps and the Loomis on and off ramps once that thing goes through, because people are going to just probably not want to go through it, a lot of them. And if you've been through the Horseshoe Bar exit, that gets pretty backed up already. And if you've ever been on Taylor during an emergency where traffic's being rerouted, the traffic will back up for 20, 30, 40 minutes. And so I really hope you will start looking at these things, especially if there was a fire and people are putting their horses in their little horse carriers, we'll just call it, and trying to leave, because it's going to be a really big disaster with a one lane roundabout. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Good morning, sir. Come on up.
Good morning. I'm Mark Ray, and I've never done this before, so excuse me.
We don't usually bite.
Anyways, I've lived in Placer County for the past 35 years, and have enjoyed the growth that we've seen, enjoyed the community, and the effectiveness that has gone on with the Board of Supervisors. Recently, I moved to Forest Hill 3 years ago, town I'd never been to, and I found the game of pickleball there, and it has invited me to join the community in a big way. I actually am very disappointed in the process and effectiveness of the Board of Supervisors regarding actions that we've taken up with the subcommittee in Forest Hill, with the forum in Forest Hill, and the subsequent approvals for the installation of permanent pickleball nets in our park at, I think it's McBean Park or Bean Park. Anyways, my concern is that for the past 2.5 years, we have been working through the subcommittees to get approval. April of '24, we received formal approval from the county for the purchase and installation of these nets. Now, Forest Hill is unique in that our parks are funded by our development fees that are generated within our community, Forest Hill specifically. The money was there in April of '24, some $130,000. Our request was for a total of $23,000 that was budgeted out and priced out in April of '24. So now here we are in November of '25. No action's been taken. We have followed up through all of the channels. I've got voicemails from Matt saying everything is approved, yet nothing happened. Kyle, the new planning commissioner, indicated to us last week that that project is closed, indefinitely put on hold, and will no longer be maintained or taken up and completed. My ask is that we approve, or we accomplish what you guys approved, maybe not you, but what was approved back in April, and install the permanent nets in the community of pickleball. Community of Forest Hill, sorry.
That's
I get a
okay.
little passionate. Anyways, you know, it's a great community. We've got over 40 members that play on a daily basis. Our courts are always full. ARD has multiple courts down here that are full. Let's get this done. Can we please?
Thank you. We can't respond to you, but really appreciate your comments, Mark. Thank you for taking your time, and we'll encourage staff to follow up.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it very much. Good morning, Wayne.
Good morning, Chair Gore, Supervisors, Karen and Daniel. Wayne Nader. I'm reflecting on the campaign season we've just gone through, rather contentious, both nationally and in our state. And I wanted to share some quotes that I thought were a bit appropriate for the time. Those who rigorously insist on their rights try to persuade others to give up theirs. That was a quote from Matthew Henry. It is easy to be tolerant of the principles of other people if you have none of your own. That's from Herbert Samuel. Truth is not an option. Truth is not an opinion. Truth is based on fact. Because of those that engage in symbolism, beware of those. Okay, I just had cataract surgery not long ago, and I'm trying to do this without my glasses. Beware of those who engage in symbolism over substance. Another quote, our country is best when it engages in vigorous debate. The framers of the Constitution envisioned a multiplicity of interests that would deliberate their way to a common good. We succeed with more voices, not fewer, and we should have enough confidence in our arguments to hear out our opponents. That was from Kimberly Strassel. The cornerstone of democracy rests on the foundation of an educated electorate. That was Thomas Jefferson said that. I would also add that who is not influenced by those who intend to subvert by malicious attacks on the fundamentals of democracy. This one kind of relates to New York. The problem with Venezuela is not that socialism has been poorly implemented, but that socialism has been faithfully implemented. From the Soviet Union to Cuba to Venezuela, whenever true socialism or communism has been adopted, it has delivered anguish, devastation, and failure. Actually, that was said by Donald Trump in 2019. And the last is in recognition of the many who step up, such as yourselves, and make sacrifices to serve our communities. It is not the critic who counts, not the one who points out how the person stumbles or where the doer of deeds would have done better. The credit belongs to the man, and I would add woman, who is actually in the arena. I'm sure you've all heard that before. That's Teddy Roosevelt. So that's my last one, and thank you for your service.
Thank you, Wayne. Appreciate your comments. Good morning, Brandon.
Madam Chair, Supervisors, good morning. Brandon Sanders, Sierra Division Government Affairs, Pacific Gas and Electric, coming to you this morning. Somewhat unusual for me to join public comment, but I do have two timely items that are good news for the county that I just thought I'd share briefly. So the first being, we've had many conversations in recent years about our wildfire mitigation work. A big part of that are what we call our enhanced power line safety settings. These are sensitivity settings on our automated devices in the field that will immediately de-energize circuits when contact is made with vegetation or animals. I'm happy to report that given the entrance of fall and winter season, we are disabling those settings, and so outage activity across the county will be far lower than what we've seen during peak fire season. So that is good news. More importantly, I wanted to share that last Thursday, October 30th, PG&E closed on an 11-acre parcel within the Placer 1 development, where we are advancing on the construction of a greenfield substation. It will be called Momentum Substation. It's a very big deal for that portion of the county. It will activate that area with new electric capacity and load availability. We've ordered the transformer, which is probably bigger than this room, along with the breakers. Everything is flowing nicely, and the nice thing about that substation is it'll initially be one transformer, but it's scalable to 3. And so we'll be able to provide electric service to pretty much everything between Yuba, Sutter, and Placer counties off in that corner of the county. So just a piece of good news. We're really excited about it, working closely with Taylor Builders, and hopefully sometime in January we'll be doing a groundbreaking event, which I'll share with your staff. Thank you.
Thank you, Brandon. Appreciate the update. Anyone else in the chambers wish to comment for public comment? All right, and online?
Yes, Chair.
Diane, go ahead and unmute your mic and give your comments.
Are you there,
Sorry,
Diane? There you are.
It was a little slow to come for me to be able to unmute. Sorry about that. Okay. Well, greetings, Board of Supervisors. Of course, I'm Diane Louise Alessi from Christian Valley Park Community Services District, 6 decades in the county. I urge you to defend the Placer County's sovereign right to control our land use. Decades, our home rule charter gave us the authority over how and where we grow. Since
Diane, we can't hear you.
AB 1893. I have my mic open. Hello? Hello?
We can hear you now.
I have my mic. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I think it has to do with just the internet. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. You didn't catch anything then, I take it.
I don't recall where you started. Something about land.
Can we reset? Because I don't know where to pick up from.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. All right. So I'll forego the introduction. I urge you to defend Placer County's sovereign right to control our land use. For decades, our home rule charter gave us the authority over how and where we grow. Since 2017, Sacramento has stripped that power with SB 35, SB 9, and AB 1893, and dozens more. No proof of statewide crisis. These laws force rezoning of rural land for high-density, low-income housing without making developers pay for roads, water, or sewers. In Placer County, that means taxpayers subsidize urban projects. The Hopeway, 240 units, millions in infrastructure paid by us. Corridor HD demands 3,400 low-income units. All green fields, no transit, no services, no schools, no plan. Push back. Builders remedies lawsuits led bypass all the rules. The AG can fine us $50,000 a month, SB 1037 says. That's eminent domain without compensation. Fines don't fix our roads, they fund affordable housing elsewhere. It's a scam for developers and realtors. There is zero evidence these mandates create attainable, retainable shelters. We can fight back, and we must. Okay, join charter cities and counties in a membership syndication. Engage pro firms like Institute for Justice and Pacific Legal Foundation. 20 already struck down SB 9 in 5 cities. Build on that. 2, lobby. Work with CSAC and rural counties for 2026 reforms, real infrastructure funding, not just mandates. 3, use local tools, adopt strict objective standards, prioritize infill, create a regional finance authority to capture developer fees, not taxpayer dollars. Supervisor, compliance is surrender. We can meet state goals our way, protecting rural character, fiscal health, and public safety. I ask you, put a defend local control resolution on the next agenda, support litigation, demand infrastructure parity, stand with residents, not Sacramento's land grab lobby. Our home rule charter is our shield, the baby constitution you swore to defend. Thank you for your time. I yield.
Thank you, Diane. Anyone else for public comment?
No further commenters.
All right, thank you. Next, we have board member and county executive reports. Do I have reports from my colleagues? Supervisor Gustafson.
I just had 2 quick ones. First off, Mr. Ray we talked last night at the Forest Hill Forum on the issue, and I've already contacted the Parks Department to get background on that and what has occurred there. Secondly, Supervisor DeMattei and myself met, the Tribal County Advisory Committee met on 10/23 with Chairman Williams and members and representatives of the United Auburn Indian community. That's the first time since I've served on the board that the committee has actually met. So I appreciated County Council, CEO's office participation, Placer County Sheriffs, and CAL FIRE, Placer County Fire. Gave reports to the tribe, and we talked for about 2 hours, I think, and had a very productive meeting. So just wanted to report that to the rest of the board. Thank you.
Thank you. Other members of the board? Following up on the conversation that you had with the tribal members, that's terrific. We had our 3x3, Supervisor DeMattei and I, with the city of Rockland. I think it's really good that we're having these regular updates and connections so that when things aren't quite going right, we can address them. And I think we made some progress yesterday as we had conversations with the city of Rockland. So more to come, but wanted to share that. And then I did have an opportunity to have a town hall meeting with Senator Roger Nilo last week at Heritage and Placer Vineyards. Probably had about 80 people, and it was terrific to have the senator come out and meet a whole new group of constituents, since that's the first project being built out in the Placer Vineyards area, and it's a group of residents who are very, very well engaged. So that was an enjoyable afternoon. All right, anything from you?
Yeah, just
Yes, Anthony.
reminded me that yesterday we were also in North Tahoe Fire along with Homewood, trying to get this gondola up and running, and so I think we, with the help of Mr. Chatney, we gained significant that's what I'm trying to word. That's why progressing. That's why I have Clifton, Clayton, and everybody else help me out. So anyways, I just wanted to report that I think the gondola is hopefully coming sooner than later, and it's not going to sit in a warehouse, and it'll be better for the public safety as well as the gondola there, or the chairlift there is older than me, I think. So anyways, just wanted to report that out. So thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Supervisor DiMattei. All right, it is not yet 9:40, so we're going to take our first department item, Amy Ellis. Good morning, Amy. We are taking item 7A, which is Health and Human Services participation in the behavioral health community-based organized networks of equitable care and treatment program. And I noticed that you're wearing green. Green stands for Mental Health Month, but it also is honoring our veterans this month. So it has a dual purpose today.
Yes.
Go ahead, Amy.
Good morning, Chair Gore, members of the board. I'm Amy Ellis with the Director of the Adult System of Care. So yes, I'm here to ask you all to adopt a resolution to ratify authorization for the Director of Health and Human Services, or designee, to participate in the California Department of Healthcare Services Behavioral Health Community-Based Organized Networks of Equitable Care and Treatment Program. We call that BH Connect. In the amount not to exceed $15,551,096, with the county match not to exceed $7,775,548 for the measurement period of January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2029, and sign any resulting agreements and related documentation with risk management and county council concurrence. So this is a newish program with the California Department of Healthcare Services, and with the Center for Medicare and Medicaid CMS approval. They've launched this BH Connect program. It's an initiative that is designed to increase access and to strengthen the continuum of community-based behavioral health services for Medi-Cal members living with significant behavioral health needs. So it's comprised of many optional and required elements that are geared towards the improvement of the systems across California. So what they've done is they have created some benchmarks and some things that we can do that then, if we choose to do them, many of them are optional, we get incentivized and we get these payments. This first one was basically all we needed to do was to let the state know what parts of this we want to participate in and make a plan and set some timelines around those things. And then, if we submitted that on time, that was our first incentive that we would be eligible for. But they only gave us a week. What happened was they told us on how to get that incentive money. We didn't, there was no mechanism. Anyway, the mechanism turned out that we needed to, just like with how we receive behavioral health payments for Medi-Cal, we have to submit up an IGT payment of our money, and then it comes doubled back to us, and that's how we get our incentive payments. So it happened last minute, so I do really want to appreciate County Council and our CEO, who really helped allow, and they gave us permission to go ahead and submit those funds so that we could receive this incentive payment back. But now we're here today to ratify that after the effect, because we do need it attached to a board authority in order to do that from here on out. And again, this first one was just in the amount of about $204,000 that went up, and then we got the $408,000 back. It's that first one. Over the course of 5 years, there's a possibility to get back, it's really about $7.7 million, but it's a total of the 15.5 because that includes our match amount. But again, we're going to evaluate each opportunity because there is a cost associated to do the programs that then get incentivized that sometimes exceed the cost of the incentive. So we'll always evaluate, what does Placer County need and what is best for our behavioral health system and what meets our community goals. And if it's in line with our local goals, we will do that thing that we're being incentivized to do, and then we will proceed to request that incentive back. But if it doesn't make sense for our community, then we might choose not to do that. So that is just a max opportunity, but likely not what we really will receive back. So anyway, so as explained, it's a 5-year program with that ultimate possibility of the $5 million. There's no general fund impact, but it does require us to submit that match to receive back that expenditure. Everything will be budgeted. It's budgeted in the 25-26 budget for adult system of care and will be included in future budgets. Happy to answer any questions on this program.
Great, thank you very much, Amy. Any questions for my colleagues?
I don't have a question, I have a comment. I think it's incredible, the navigation that you need to do to get through these state processes to maximize services for our folks. We heard earlier today under public comment, again, a plea for more mental health services and behavioral health services go along with that. And I just can't even imagine trying to understand what the state giving you a 1 week to submit for an incentive program like this. So hats off to our incredible HHS team who secures these funds to get them out in the community trying to address these issues. So thanks, Amy.
I appreciate it. And not every county was able to get this submitted so fast and receive this. I do really, really appreciate the nimbleness and the support that we have from our CEO and our board.
Thank you, Supervisor Gustafson. Let's open this up to the public. Is there any comment from the public? You'd like to speak on this item? Yes, ma'am. Come on up.
Hi. It's nice to sit in front of you or stand in front of you. This is my second time to this podium, but the first time to the Placer County Board of Supervisors. I think the time I was here before, I was on Zoom, so just right before that ended. This caught my attention.
And your name for the record, if you don't mind.
This caught my attention. My name is Sella Greenhouse. I go by Sella. Nice to meet you. I live in the city of Lincoln, and I have 4 children that are at Western Placer Unified School District. And so this understanding of the support that we're providing in behavioral health is really important to me. More importantly, I looked at the notes that was written up by the staff on this, and I didn't understand why it was January 1st of 2024. And then it's going in this budget for right now. I went to the website for the BH Connect, and the BH Connect said that this was a Gavin Newsom's initiative over the last few years to have behavioral health funding to the state of California, and that federal funding has come in, and so now it's available for us to retain that from the state. And on top of that, it's governed by a access to care initiative of some sort that offers training, and so it's training for I think existing staff is what I understand, and including that, they're trying to increase the workforce for that. So they have 5 different programs that they are offering for like debt forgiveness of loans. If you go into serving a Medi-Cal person is one of the 5, and there were 4 other ones listed on the website. That was very interesting. But this initiative was just approved by Gavin Newsom, or announced December of 2024, and so I think there might be a typo in this that should be January 1st of 2025 in regards to when this should start. So I just wanted to bring that up. But I am looking forward to seeing what our department does with creating initiatives for here locally. I have gone and used our Lotus Wellness Center, and I have been to the classes that they offered. There was a speakers bureau that I had gone to a few times, and so I'm looking forward to seeing what we bring forward on that, and not just for adults, but also for children, as my kids take advantage of the wellness centers that are on their campuses in Western Placer. So I wanted to just ask that specific question about the date of timing, because it just announced that it was December 2024 was released. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much for your comments. Appreciate that. Any other public comment? All right, Amy, if you want to come back and just clarify, you were nodding your head, you knew what she was talking about, so that's good.
Yeah, for sure. This is definitely tied to some other initiatives around improvement, so I really appreciated her comments. I think that there is training going to be involved, so a lot of it's about evidence-based practices. So we can opt in to do the services we do now, but under like what's called an evidence-based practice that does require a lot of significant training to the staff who are going to then deliver that evidence-based practice. There's that. There are workforce elements to this. There is a lot. It is trying to transform and improve the overall quality of behavioral health with a lot of in a lot of different ways. And so she's absolutely correct. As far as the date, I would have to go back and like double check, but I think this is the 5-year period that encapsulates the entire program. I think it is accurate, but I will confirm that and get back with it. I'll confer with county council and the contracts to ensure that.
Actually, if I could comment,
Okay.
I questioned it as well, but I understand from Renju, my attorney who handles this, that date is correct. It's a
Thank you.
5-year period.
All right, so sometimes things just take longer to get moving than when they're approved, right?
Yeah, because I think it's emphasizing when the time period started. Like, we've been doing things toward this for a significant period of time. This is just the first moment that the very first incentive could be drawn down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate, Karen, thank you for checking the date. And with that, any further conversation, we can take action.
I'll move approval.
Second.
A motion by Gustafson, second by DiMattei. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
All right, our next item is accommodation for Assistant Chief Probation Officer Molly Ronco. Unfortunately, we lost Molly a couple of weeks ago. A very loved member of our community and leader in our probation department. And so I have accommodation here, and really pleased that her children are here with us this morning. And I'm going to go ahead and read the accommodation, and really pleased to see members of the probation team here as well. So this is a commendation in the matter to recognize and posthumously honor Molly Ronco for exceptional contributions and leadership in Placer County. Whereas Assistant Chief Probation Officer Molly Ronco faithfully served the people of Placer County for more than 31 years, beginning her career as a probation intern and rising through the ranks to become Assistant Chief Probation Officer. And whereas Molly was a proud graduate of California State University, Sacramento, where she earned her Bachelor of Science degree in criminal justice, preparing her for a lifetime of public service and dedication to the probation profession. And whereas during her 16 years in leadership roles, Molly guided her teams with integrity and humility, built strong partnerships across the justice system, and exemplified the highest standards of professionalism. And whereas Molly was known not only for her exceptional leadership, but for her compassion, authenticity, and her unwavering belief in people, whether it was clients striving to rebuild their lives or colleagues seeking encouragement and support. And whereas her impact on the community is reflected in the heartfelt words of those she served, including former clients who shared that she saved my life. She was there for me as a kid and supported me as an adult. And she will never be forgotten. And whereas her colleagues and friends remember her as simply the best, a kind-hearted, thoughtful, and incredible person, an inspiration to every person she met, and a rock, a fantastic human being, noting that she was both a true professional and devoted mother. And whereas Molly's life and career are a testament to the power of service, the strength of compassion, and the lasting difference one person can make in the lives of others. Now, therefore, let it be known that the above commendation was duly passed by the Board of Supervisors of the County of Placer at a regular meeting held on November 4th, 2025. On behalf of the citizens of Placer County, the Board of Supervisors acknowledge in memoriam with great appreciation Assistant Chief Probation Officer Molly Ronco for her extraordinary service, compassion, and enduring contributions to the community. Very evident that her life made a huge impact on not only her family and her Placer County family, but the community at large, and we're very grateful for her. I would like to first just open this item up to the board if there's anybody on the board who would like to make a comment on the commendation. I've got a Supervisor Landon, please. I have an order, and I'll move through the order. So we're going to start with the board first.
Thank you. I just want to say Molly was just an incredible human being, and I just had the pleasure of getting to converse with her on a number of occasions. And at one point, we went and toured St. John's down in Sacramento, and the conversations we had about her passion for people and her desire to really help people get from point A to point B and to support them in that process really left a huge impact on me. I think just the reflection looking at her kids and the incredible people that they are is really a testament to who she was as a person, and she is going to be greatly missed. And she was a really great example of just the culture and the humanity in our probation department that you don't see around other counties around the state. So,
Thank you, Supervisor Landon. Supervisor Jones?
Yes, I wanted to say that I did attend the memorial service that you had at the probation department, and to say that I was so amazed at how many lives that she touched. She touched so many lives, and the outpouring of affection and remembrances that everyone gave that day in honor of your mom, and what a wonderful woman she was, and all of the things that she's done and accomplished over the years. I was very amazed and surprised and touched, and it was very heartwarming. So I'm sorry for your loss. It's terrible, but.
Thank you, Supervisor Jones. I'm going to now open it up to the public. Brian, our Chief Probation Officer. Come on up, Brian.
Good morning, Chair Gore, members of the board, Mr. Chatney, and Ms. Schwab. I am Brian Passenheim with the Probation Department. I want to start by recognizing each of you for taking the time to acknowledge Molly and her contributions for over 3 decades. As mentioned previously, Molly began her journey as a student intern with our department many years ago. Through determination and diligence, she advanced steadily to the role of Assistant Chief Probation Officer, a role she carried with honor until her passing. Assistant Chief Molly Ronco exemplified what it meant to be a probation officer every single day. Molly was focused on making Placer County an exceptional place to live and work. Her commitment to the profession was unmatched. Her 31 years of service left an incredible impact on those she supervised, our staff, as you can see, our justice partner, and the community that we serve. During her 16 years in leadership, that's right, 16 years in leadership, she was a servant leader. She was able to help her teams navigate through a lot of changes in the juvenile adult systems. As we all know, every year we get something new. She was able to keep people calm, focused, and remember what our mission was. She also built strong and lasting partnerships, which you can see in the room today, and hopefully you'll hear today. She was known for her ability to lead with both strength and humility, never wanting any credit for herself, but only for her team. And as I mentioned, she always kept the mission of probation at the forefront. Her impact reached far beyond her title. She inspired colleagues, strengthened partnerships, and believed deeply in people's potential. Former clients and coworkers alike described her as authentic, kind, and a true professional, someone who changed lives and made everyone feel seen. And we know that's no easy task. Her greatest strength was her humanity. She recognized potential where others might not, offering hope, guidance, and accountability. Former clients have shared touching memories saying things like, "Molly was my probation officer when I was a kid and still supported me as an adult. She was one of a kind. She never judged me. She celebrated my growth. Years later, it made me feel proud of my progress." In the late 90s, when I struggled, she was my PO. Years later, after I changed my life, I saw her again. and she was so happy for me. Another one said, she changed my life. I'll always be grateful for her compassion. And we know when we do this work, we changed a lot of lives. And so this is a small sample of the major impact that she had. Her colleagues echoed the same sentiments, describing her as authentic and inspiring, truly the best, a thoughtful and kind person whose love for her family and profession was unmatched. Another one said, a leader who made everyone around her better, a devoted mother, mentor, and friend. I think that sums it up. Those who had the privilege of knowing Molly felt enriched by her presence. She was admired not only for her professionalism, but her warmth, sincerity, and quiet strength. Many people we talked to reflected on how fortunate they felt to have worked alongside her, calling her a dear friend, a role model, and a silent civil servant whose dedication made our justice system stronger. Assistant Chief Molly Ronco's career is a testament to the power of service and the difference one individual can make in our community. Her dedication, leadership, and genuine faith in others set an example for us all. Though she is no longer with us, her legacy will continue to inspire generations to come. Thank you again for all your support, and thank you everybody for being here.
Thank you, Brian. Appreciate your comments very much. We're going to open it to family members. We'll start with Ryan Ronco, who is on Zoom this morning. And so, Ryan, if you'd like to say a few words.
Yeah, thank you, Chair Gore and members of our board. We appreciate the opportunity to be able to speak to you today. The election waits for no one, so I'm here at the office conducting the election, but we thank you for this opportunity to speak remotely. Our family would like to thank you for adopting this commendation for Molly. We would like to thank Chief Brian Passenheim and the entire Placer County Probation Department for their continuing efforts to honor Molly's memory. Molly Cecilia Ronco was an extraordinary human being. She was strong, compassionate, opinionated, brave, and extremely loyal to her friends. She treasured being a probation officer for the county she grew up in and that she loved so much. It was the honor of her life to be selected by Chief Passenheim to be Assistant Chief Probation Officer earlier this year. Outside of her work, she loved CrossFit, she loved true crime novels, and she loved spending time with her girlfriends, both her high school crew and her newer friends, affectionately known as the Crazy Chicks. Of course, for her, all of that paled in comparison to being a mom. She cherished being on the sidelines for every softball game, every soccer game, every lacrosse game. She was by far the loudest mom, probably the loudest parent on the sidelines. And if you listen closely on dewy early mornings on soccer pitches around this region, we believe her voice still echoes there and will forever. I said this at the celebration of life that probation put on for Molly, and I'll say it again. Queen Elizabeth II said, "Grief is the price we pay for love." Even though our family is grieving, we're lifted up by acts such as this, knowing that she made such an impact on the community. And on behalf of her entire family, I'd like to thank you for this recognition. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate those comments very much. I would like to invite up Samantha and Jack, if y'all would like to come up with her beautiful little one. Good morning.
Morning. Thank you all for spending the time to acknowledge our mom and this guy's grandma. Her passing has left an enormous hole in our hearts, but it's comforting to know that her work and dedication to Placer County has been appreciated by more people than we even know. Our hope is that her legacy continues onward in the probation department alongside the legacy we hope to carry forward in our lives as well. Thank you all so much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
There's a lot I could say, but I'll keep it a little bit short. In her last days in the hospital, one of the last things she said, after getting a breathing tube taken out, mind you, she said, "I'm worried I'm not doing enough at work." So I think that kind of encompasses her dedication to her community. So I think we can learn a lot from that, and if we just take a smidge of that, we can make Placer County and the world a better place.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. I'd like to open this up to anyone else who would like to make a comment. Mark, you want to come on up? Good morning.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Board of Supervisors. And thanks, Sam and Jack, for those words. Your mom would definitely be proud. Thank you, Ryan, for your words as well. To say that this has been really, really tough on me and our probation family and her immediate family would be a significant understatement. Words cannot even begin to describe the kind of human being and woman and probation officer that Molly was. And I've always known how incredible she was, but suffice it to say, you start seeing more after someone has passed. But I can state that she fought this very vicious disease with as much dignity and courage as anyone could muster. Her desire was to be here this morning and not have us talk about her in this way, but to be here for other type of issues. She came to work to the very last day, 3 days before she went into the hospital for the last time she was at work. And she commented to me how it was difficult for her to not have the ability to stand and speak with her officers and engage with them outside their cubicles like she would normally and typically do on a daily basis because of the neuropathy and some of the discomfort that cancer brought her body. But she would be very, very proud and happy as to how our department has come together. And I stand before you as a testimony to Molly. Part of me likes to think that everybody's putting their arm around me because of me, and there might be a little bit of truth to that, but they really meant, Molly meant the world to them. And I feel it every day. And I wouldn't be here this morning if it wasn't for the care and the love of my probation family in this county. And that's really the true legacy of Molly. I'll say this real quick and then conclude, because one of the things Molly always said was I talk too much. Molly will be remembered for the leader she was. She led by example and took care of her officers by always being available, having an open door, and leading with her heart. This is why her staff affectionately referred to as Mama Bear. She cared deeply about our profession and generally cared about outcomes and the success of our probation clients. She loved to be called a probation officer. But her greatest achievement is who she was as a person, a woman, a human being. How well she treated others is something we should all strive to follow. I came across this saying recently and found it very fitting as a tribute to her. It reads, "Your legacy won't be your title or your resume. It will be how people felt after meeting you. Be unforgettable for the right reasons." This was Molly. She will be missed, but never forgotten. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Would anyone else like to make a comment? Good morning. Still going to call you Chief.
Fortunately, I never thought I'd be up here for this circumstance, but anyway, I'm Marshall Hopper, citizen of Roseville, District 4. I get to say that, it's a little different. And I said this earlier at the thing last week, but on my first day of employment in Placer County, Molly was there. She greeted me, took me around the department, was part of the application process. And over almost 27 and a half years later, she was the last person to give me a hug the day that I left. And during that time frame, we worked in numerous assignments in Roseville and Loomis and throughout the department. And we both, had great careers. But I think it's just important to note, and you've heard it before, is Molly cared about others more than herself. That is exactly why, as Jack said, she was worried about what she was doing at work during her last days. And that's how she took her entire career. I can't count the number of times of people, staff, probation clients would come through and make comments about how Molly changed their life. And that was her goal, was to do that. And she did it. She was an outstanding probation officer. And it was truly one of the honors of my career and my life is to work with her and work beside her. So I just wanted to comment on that, and she will be truly missed. She was a fabulous person and a fabulous probation officer. Thank you.
Thank you, Marshall. Anyone else? Good morning, Judge.
Good morning, Chair Gore and members of the Board of Supervisors. My name is Jeffrey Penny. I'm the presiding judge of the Placer County Superior Court. On behalf of the court, I want to honor Probation Officer Molly Ronco and express our gratitude for her years of service to the court and to the community. I knew her before I became a judge. I think we started about the same time. I started as a deputy DA for Placer County in April 4th, 1994. And that's about the same time that she started as a probation officer. So we kind of had parallel careers. And so I knew Molly as a probation officer, as a person, and they don't get any better than Molly Ronco. So on behalf of the court, we want to thank her for all of her service, honor her, and express our condolences to her family. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. All right. Would you like to say something? You're welcome to come up, ma'am.
Hi, my name's Stella Greenhouse. I had seen this on the agenda, and I wanted to speak just real quick to honor the fact of a career mom. And I didn't know she had children. I knew that the last name was the same as our election director, or his title, I'm not sure, but I know I see his role. And I just really wanted to honor the fact that this working mom served our county and served our probation department. And I want her children to know that the sacrifice she made and the amount that she put into the community is really for their development and for their future. So I hope that they take comfort in this time as they see all the people that came around, and that losing your mom at this young of an age is very hard. And I want you children to know that she will always be watching over you, and more importantly, those that she touched will also be watching over you. So I hope that you take comfort in that, and that your mom rests in peace. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Thank you, everyone, for your comments. And I'm going to close public comment. And I just want to appreciate just the members of the county team who are here, not just probation, but we've got representatives from throughout the county, many people who served with Molly all these years. So we appreciate you taking the time to recognize Molly alongside us. So with that, I would like to ask somebody to just move approval of the proclamation, please, or the commendation.
I'll move approval.
I'll second.
All right, thank you. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, I would like to present this to you all, and we don't have to take a photo. We can if you like, but that's totally up to you. Oh, is that a yes? Okay, we'll take a photo. Ask my colleagues to come on down. Here, how about this? Here, you two hold, there we go. That'll be easier. All right, there we go.
Give it to the kid.
Yeah.
His name's Beckett. Thank you guys.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And he's volunteering the election tonight, so wish us luck, guys. Skipped his morning nap for this.
Oh, you're gonna help with the elections today? All right.
Thank you for your flowers.
Teaching them early, being public service. Thank you, everyone. All right, we will move to our item 2A, which is Human Resources. It's updates to the uncodified schedule of classifications and compensation ordinance. And it looks like Joe Amoruso is, Ambrosini. Thank you. I guess I know another Joe. Come on up, and the floor is yours, Joe.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair Gore, members of the board. Joe Ambrosini, Director of Human Resources. The Sheriff's Office recently completed an evaluation of its Support Services Division, looking at current service needs, workflows, and the overall organizational structure. The goal was to identify opportunities to improve efficiencies, coordination, and oversight of the wide range of administrative and operational support functions within the department. As part of this review and under the direction of the County Executive Officer, Human Resources explored creating a new department-specific executive-level non-sworn position known as the Deputy Director of the Sheriff's Office. This position will report to the Undersheriff and provide cohesive management and oversight of the Support Services Division. This includes, but is not limited to, department-wide fiscal and budget operations, human resources, dispatch, records, fleet, information technology, facilities, contract administration, grants management, compliance functions, and other services as needed and determined by the sheriff or the undersheriff. The Deputy Director will also serve as part of the department's executive management team, helping lead strategic planning, policy development, and interdepartmental collaboration while representing the Sheriff's Office with both internal and external partners. The proposed salary range for this position is set at management range 467, $13,147 to $15,981 monthly for range A, and $12,798 to $15,981 monthly for range B. Given the level of authority and the highly complex range of responsibilities, this position has also been determined to be suitable for the unclassified service. For the record, I will read the action requested, which is to introduce an uncodified ordinance, waive oral reading, to amend the schedule of classifications and compensation ordinance to create the classification of Deputy Director of the Sheriff's Office. That concludes my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Joe. Appreciate that. Any questions from my colleagues? All right, we'll open up to the public. Sheriff, would you like to come on up? Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board, Karen, Daniel, pleasure to be here. I'm actually really proud to be here to bring this position forward. And honestly, this position kind of comes out of the county's philosophy of getting growth right. When you look at our current assignment of a lieutenant down at our South Placer substation and then our growth at West Oaks, our current lieutenant down at the South Placer substation oversees a station that's bigger than 75% of the police departments in the United States of America. So as we look to branch out to West Oaks, expand the services at that location, clearly there will be a need to upgrade that position to a captain. As many of you know, we currently have 5 captains, and I think the easy answer would have been to come forward and ask for a 6th captain when West Oaks opened. But one of the things I'm really proud of is our leadership philosophy of not just always doing things the way they've always been done and looking for opportunities to evolve and get better and even apply some cost savings. So we really looked at what our support services captain does. We've left that spot vacant for over a year now, hoping to get this position. And thought that we should really have a high-level executive, kind of that C-suite executive as part of the sheriff's executive management team that is a civilian overseeing the rest of professional staff. This will be a complex assignment, supervising anywhere from 130 to 150 staff members, many different divisions of the sheriff's office. It will equal a cost savings versus just leaving a captain in that position. And I think it's truly an opportunity to provide some stability where the position won't be rotated like our captains have regular rotations, and career progression for some of our professional staff at the sheriff's office to truly have a seat at the table and have basically the equivalency of a captain level position with not only responsibility, but pay and status that goes with that. So those are the reasons why we're creating this position. So really, it's kind of underfilling our current captain position for now. And then hopefully in the next couple of years, as West Oaks gets fully open and functional, we will try to fund that 5th captain spot through the budgeting process without having to add another captain. So that was the purpose for trying to create this position. I want to thank the county executive. Without his support, probably wouldn't be here today. So I really appreciate his vision and support with what we're trying to accomplish moving forward at the office. So thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Appreciate that background and appreciate you're looking at things a little bit differently to be most effective as a department. Really appreciate that. All right. Any other comments or discussion? If not,
I'll move approval.
Second.
oh, did
Public comment.
did I ask for public comment? Sorry. Sheriff, you are public. All right. Yeah, all right. Anybody in the public wish to comment on this item? Sorry, thank you. All right, and nobody, all right. Now I'll bring it back to the board for any further action.
I move approval.
Second.
All right, thank you. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you. All right. Our next item is item 3A. It's a proclamation recognizing November 4th through November 11th as Operation Greenlight for Veterans Week in Placer County. And Supervisor Jones is going to read the proclamation.
Okay, thank you. In the matter.
Your microphone. Thank you.
Okay. In the matter of a proclamation recognizing November 4th through November 11th, 2025, as Operation Greenlight for Veterans Week in Placer County. Whereas the residents of Placer County have great respect, admiration, and the utmost gratitude for all the men and women who have selflessly served our country and this community in the armed forces. And whereas the contributions and sacrifices of those who served in the armed forces have been vital in maintaining the freedoms and way of life enjoyed by our citizens. And whereas Placer County seeks to honor individuals who have made countless sacrifices for freedom by placing themselves in harm's way for the good of all. And whereas veterans continue to serve our community in the American Legion, Veterans of Foreign Wars, religious groups, civil service, and by functioning as county veteran service officers in 29 states to help fellow former service members access more than $52 billion in federal health, disability, and compensation benefits each year. Whereas approximately 200,000 service members transition to civilian communities annually, and an estimated 20% increase of service members will transition to civilian life in the near future. And whereas studies indicate that 44 to 72% of service members experience high levels of stress during the transition from military to civilian life. And whereas active military service members transitioning from military service are at a high risk for suicide during the first year after military service. And whereas the National Association of Counties encourages all counties, parishes, and boroughs to recognize Operation Greenlight for veterans. And whereas Placer County appreciates the sacrifices of our United States military personnel and believes that specific recognition should be granted. Whereas with designation as a green light for Veterans County, Placer County hereby declares November 4th through the 11th, 2025 as a time to salute and honor the service and sacrifices of those transitioning from active service. And whereas shining a green light symbolizes hope, support, and forward movement for veterans as they transition from military to civilian life. And whereas Placer County encourages its citizens in patriotic tradition to recognize the importance of honoring all those who've made immeasurable sacrifices to preserve freedom by displaying green lights in a window of their place of business or residence from November 4th through the 11th. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the above proclamation was duly passed by the Board of Supervisors of the County of Placer on behalf of the citizens of Placer County at a regular meeting held November 4th, 2025, proclaiming the week of November 4th through November 11th, 2025 as Green Light for Veterans Week in Placer County. So there we have it. And, you know, I think it's important to me because I'm the wife of a retired Army officer, and I'll tell you, transitioning for him, they gave a whole week of transitioning services, a whole week after 20 years of service. And it was not an easy thing to transition from military life to civilian life. So for those who are lower enlisted and all, it has to be extremely difficult for them. And so this honor is very important to them, and I wish we could reach out to more of them and help. If you know of anybody who is transitioning from military life to civilian life, reach out and help them. And if not, at least recommend they go to our Placer County Veteran Service Office, because we have an excellent officer there who provides all kinds of services. Most of the young people who are transitioning out of military service really are not aware of the services that these veteran service officers offer through the federal benefits and everything. So anyway, but thank you all for listening.
Thank you, Supervisor Jones. Appreciate that very much. Let's open this up to the public. If anyone in the public would like to make a comment. All right, seeing none, I'll just bring it back and, Supervisor Gustafson, did you want to say something?
I wanted to thank Supervisor Jones for bringing this forward. I wasn't aware of the program until this was brought forward, and I guess it's the 5th year that NACO has been sponsoring this, our Association of Counties nationwide. And I appreciate our facilities staff lighting up the dome at the courthouse green, and I was wondering why it was green, and so I'm glad to know more about this program and the support that we all want to share with our veterans.
Wonderful, thank you. And as a reminder, next week, November 11th, is Veterans Day, and there are definitely opportunities throughout the county at many of our veterans halls, opportunities to honor Veterans Day next week on Tuesday, November the 11th. So we really appreciate just, this county really recognizes and supports our veterans, not only our veteran service officers, but our colleges. We have a lot of resources out there, and we're very fortunate. All right, with that, I'm happy to have somebody move approval of the proclamation.
I will proudly move approval.
And I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Thank you very much. And next we have item 4A, which is the annual report on the Williamson Schools in Placer County. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning, Gail Garbolino Mojica, Placer County Superintendent of Schools, and I'm here today for our annual presentation on Williams Schools in Placer County. Williams Schools, oops, I did something wrong.
They will reload it.
Okay.
Somehow, there it is.
So okay, I pressed the wrong one. Sorry about that. Williams Schools came into effect in 2005 as a result of a lawsuit between at the state of California, and it created additional accountability to low-performing schools to be formed by the county superintendent. Historically, we used the academic performance index. If you remember, those were a three-digit code, a three-digit number that if you fell below a certain number, you qualified for additional monitoring by the county superintendent. So if you went to school at an 810 school, that was great. If you went to school at a 515 school, that wasn't so great. So that was the mechanism by which this legislation was utilizing to determine what low-performing schools were subject to this. Then there was about a period of about 10 years where we didn't have an academic performance index, but we still had this law. And so I came here for years and years with the same number of schools that never changed for about 5 or 6 or 7 years. And so in 2021, they fixed that, and they created a new mechanism by which they identify low-performing schools. Those low-performing schools are identified through something what we call CSI in public education, which is comprehensive support and improvement. So if a school is a CSI school, they may qualify for additional monitoring by the county superintendent, or a targeted support an improvement school. Or if you have low-performing schools as identified by the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, a federal law, or if you have 15% more of your teachers that are not credentialed, you are subject for additional monitoring. So because of that, we do have a set of new schools that were identified in Placer County that required additional monitoring by the county superintendent. We have to monitor these schools within the first 8 weeks, and we check for the sufficiency of instructional materials, the conditions of the facilities, and accuracy of the data that's on the school accountability report card, in addition to any teacher misassignments, meaning do you have a teacher who's not credentialed teaching a particular subject or a particular group of students that they're not credentialed to teach. So with that, we had 21 schools of about 150 schools that qualified for this additional monitoring, and we are happy to report that all schools had instructional materials, adequate instructional materials, or sufficient is the term. All schools had adequate facilities that were rated good and or exemplary, that all school accountability report cards informations were accurate, that we had no teacher misassignments in any of these schools, but we did have 3 schools that had 2.5 total. So across the 21 schools, 2.5 had vacant teaching positions. So with that, that's all I have to report, but I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have here.
Thank you, Gail. Appreciate that report. Good to see that things are going well. Any comments or questions from my colleagues? We will open this item up to the public. Any questions or comments from the public? Yes, ma'am. You're welcome to come up.
Hi, Stella Greenhouse, still, haven't changed. I go to Western Placer, as I mentioned, and so I was looking at those schools. I noticed that 2 of them were within that school district. So I just kind of wanted curious, because I'm part of the LCAP, Parent Advisory Council at Western Placer School District for coming on my 2nd year. First year was a fire hose of trying to understand what LCAP is. Now trying to get to the meetings is what I'm challenged with, but I'll get there. Some questions I had was, how long do schools stay on the list? Is it that they're monitored by our superintendent of the county for a year, 2 years? Because I noticed that some of the information for Foskett Ranch Elementary did go back to 2022 and 23. And on this SARC report, it did indicate a comparison between the state and the school district, and then also the school. And then it even broke it down by socioeconomic with races, if you want to say, of the kids that attended there. So it was very interesting to look at that analysis, and I do appreciate the county oversight over that. So I'm curious about how long they stay on the list, how they get put on the list, it seems like, from the SARC report. And then I actually thought I was going to print out this report from this and send it to my school board when I go there this evening, so that they are aware of that for those 2 schools there. So, because my kids don't go to those schools, they go to different ones. But I would not imagine that Foskett Ranch and Lincoln Crossing would be on this list. And so this list, what I understood, is the deciles, if I say that correct, of 1 through 3. So they are in the 30% lowest performing schools in the state. And so that's where I was kind of curious in regards to that information. So please correct me wherever I did was wrong. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else like to make a public comment? No? All right. Well, we'll close public comment, bring it back. Feel free. Yes,
Would like me to
please.
answer
That would
these
be
questions?
helpful. Thank you, Gail.
Yes, so every 3 years, they rebench the schools that qualify for Williams schools, and it's based upon certain subgroups of data. So it could be, for example, for additional targeted support and improvement. It could be you have students who are your student disabilities group. It could be your low-income students. It could be your English language learners. It could be a demographic group that will qualify a school district. So it gets rebenched every 3 years. We don't use deciles. That was the old law that was initially approved. The new one uses the CSI, ATSI, or teacher misassignments, or anything with the ESCA. Those are how you qualify for low income. So, and I would say that One of the requirements is I need to come to the Board of Supervisors and present this information. I also need to go to the Placer County Board of Education and present this information, which we'll be presenting next week. And then this information is actually sent to all of the school districts. So Western Placer Unified, if they're identified with a couple of their schools, this information has been sent to their school district, and they have to have agenda item in November as well. So it will be on the Western Placer School District's agenda, in addition to the other 9 districts who had schools that qualified.
Great, thank you very much. All right, any other conversation?
No, I just want to thank you, Gail, for a great job, as always.
Thank you very much.
Many years of success to you.
And I'm sure if there are further questions, you can answer them after this item.
Or my trusty friend here can actually answer in much more specific detail than I can.
Thank you. All right, we just received a report and no action, correct? All right, thank you for your time, appreciate it very much. All right, next we're gonna go to item 5A, which is the, I think that's MEMA Capital LLC, Agricultural Preserve Williamson Act Contract Rescission and Replacement. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Chair Gore, board members, Chris Pahuli, Placer County Planning Director. The item that's before you today is a rescission and replacement of an agricultural preserve Williamson Act contract in the Penryn area. The staff presentation will be provided by Martin Romero, supported by Callie Kettinger Cecil, his supervising planner. As Martin is a new presenter to the board, I wanted to provide a brief introduction. Martin is an assistant planner with the Planning Division, and he started 1 year ago today. So today is actually his Placer County Planiversary. Martin joined us from the city of Irwindale in the LA area, and for the past year has been working on a number of variances, minor land divisions, items that are typically at the zoning administrator level. So today is his first board presentation. With that introduction, I want to have Martin come to the podium. Thanks.
Good morning, Martin, and welcome. Hey, you had a whole year without having to sit in front of us, so that's actually not too bad. And we're usually fairly nice, most times.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning. As Chris stated, my name is Martin Romero. I'm an assistant planner with the Planning Services Division. I am bringing forth a request from the applicant, Building Engineering and Maintenance, Inc., on behalf of the property owner, MEMA Capital LLC, to rescind Williamson Act contract PLN 22-00200 and establish a new contract for the property under PLN 25-00165, subject to the subject property currently under PLN 22-00200 is approximately 30.8 acres and is located at 7615 Callison Way in the unincorporated Penryn area. The subject property sits west of a 22.86 acre agricultural preserve. A request for a minor boundary line adjustment, PLN 25-00083, proposed to shift the boundary lines of the existing ag preserve area. It is because of said request that the existing Williamson Act contract must be rescinded and a new contract must be established to reflect the proposed boundary lines. The existing contract area is for 30.8 acres. The applicant is proposing to donate approximately 0.08 acres to the neighboring parcel, APN 031-220-031000, and receive approximately 0.58 acres from said parcel in return. The newly proposed Williamson Act contract area is for 31.3 acres. Government Code Section 51257A states that the findings that must be made to facilitate, states that findings that must be made to facilitate a minor boundary line adjustment for parcel under a Williamson Act contract, the following findings must be made. The new contract would restrict the adjusted boundaries of the parcel for an initial term of as long as the unexpired term, but not less than 10 years. There is no decrease in restricted acreage. At least 90% in the land under the former contract remains under the new contract. After the lot line adjustment, the parcels under the contract will be large enough to sustain agricultural uses. The lot line adjustment would not compromise the long-term agricultural productivity on the parcel subject to a contract. The lot line adjustment is not likely to result in the removal of adjacent land from agricultural uses, and the lot line adjustment does not result in a greater number of developable parcels than prior to the adjustment, or result in an adjusted lot that is inconsistent with the general plan. Staff presented the proposed rescission and replacement of the contract at the July 14th Agricultural Commission. Following discussion and deliberation, the Agricultural Commission voted to recommend that the Board of Supervisors rescind the existing contract and replace it with a new contract, PLN 25-00165. Prior to this hearing, we received one comment letter from Mr. Garabedian. The letter asked if the entire 30.8 acre subject parcel and the neighboring 22.9 acre parcel are benefiting from reduced property taxes. The letter also asked what agricultural improvements have been made and what income has been received from said uses, what agricultural policies apply to the subject parcel and the neighboring parcel under Williamson Act contracts, and if there is a foreign owner of the agricultural land. In response to the letter, yes, the entirety of the subject property benefits from a reduced property tax. All property under a Williamson Act contract benefits from a reduced property tax. The property currently has a 7.8 acre vineyard with an irrigation system. There is currently no income, but the property is expected to meet the required minimum income for a Williamson Act contract when fully operational. Both the subject property and the neighboring property under contract are subject to Article 17.64 Williamson Act Lands Program of the Placer County Code. Regarding foreign ownership of the property, that's not something I can speak to. Not sure if the applicant would like to address that. Staff recommends that the Board of Supervisors take the following actions. Determine that the rescission and simultaneous replacement of Mima Capital LLC's agricultural preserve Williamson Act contract is categorically exempt from environmental review pursuant to Section 15317 of the California Environmental Quality Act guidelines, Class 17 open space contracts or easements, and Sections 18.36.190 of the Placer County Environmental Review Ordinance, and adopt a resolution to concurrently rescind agricultural preserve, Williamson Act contract PLN 22-00200, and authorize the board chair to execute the replacement agricultural preserve Williamson Act contract PLN 25-00165 for the property located at 7615 Collison Road in the unincorporated Penryn area. This concludes my presentation. I'm available to answer any questions. The applicant is also here.
Thank you very much, Martin. Appreciate that presentation. Questions from my colleagues, and questions from my colleagues. So let's start there. All right. Need to open up the public hearing. So I am opening up the public hearing, and do we have any questions from the public? All right. And nobody online? All right. I will close public comment. Thank you. Or close public comment and close the public hearing. This, to me, looks very straightforward. Thank you for your hard work. I have no questions. Anybody else?
No, my
All
only
right.
question is to county council, can we take one motion on this? No. Okay, then I'd like to move approval.
I'll second.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Good job, Martin. Did better than I would have. Can't even talk from up here.
Next item is item 6A, which is the Bedgood property annexation into sewer maintenance district number 3. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning. Sarah Gilmer here on behalf of Environmental Engineering Division to present this annexation. As stated in the board memo, we're requesting the board adopt the resolution which is included in the staff report to annex the property into the boundaries of Sewer Maintenance District 3 Horseshoe Bar. The property is located east of Bonanza Way and south of Horseshoe Bar Road in Loomis. The applicant will be charged the annexation fee in effect at the time they choose to make payment, and if paid at this time, that fee would be $2,766.12. There's also a check that must be made to the State Board of Equalization for $300 for the recording fee. Staff supports this request, and in order to move forward, we request that you take the following actions. Conduct a public hearing to consider annexation of the property of Donald and Christine Bedgood, located east of Bonanza Way and south of Horseshoe Bar Road in Loomis, APN 036-090-020-000, into the boundaries of Sewer Maintenance District 3, Horseshoe Bar, to provide sewer service and any objections to the proposed annexation. Action 2. Adopt a resolution annexing the Bedgood property, APN 036-090-020-000, into the boundaries of Sewer Maintenance District 3, Horseshoe Bar, for sewer service. And finally, Action 3 is to determine the proposed actions are exempt from environmental review pursuant to CEQA Guidelines Section 15319. And if there are any questions, I would be happy to address them.
Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate that very much. Any questions from my colleagues? Let's open it up to the public. We will open up the public hearing for any questions or comments. All right, we will bring it back to the board. We will close the public hearing. And if there's nothing else, we can.
I'll move approval.
Second.
All right, motion by Jones, second by DiMattei. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Sarah.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.
Nice and easy. I like easy ones. All right. Next, we're going to go to the rest of our department items. So our next item is item 8A. It's updates on the county's holiday schedule. Good morning, Nicole.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board, Daniel and Karen. Nicole Lopez, the Assistant Director of Human Resources. County holidays are declared by the Board of Supervisors and by prior agreement with county bargaining units are subject to the scope of collective bargaining. Declared holidays are also codified in the Placer County Code, Chapter 2, Section 2.12.010. Currently, the county observes Lincoln's Day on February 12th. That day obviously is moving every year. It's not a set date. And it oftentimes creates disruption with county operations and business because we also observe President's Day, which is the third Monday in February, which is a set day. So sometimes the holidays back up against each other. What we're proposing to the board for consideration, which has been agreed upon by all labor groups, is to set Lincoln's Day at a static each year at the second Monday of every February, and keep the President's Day at the third Monday in every February, which allows some efficiencies in county operations in limiting closures within close proximity of each other. So the item before you is to update the codified ordinance to be able to implement this modification to the holiday schedule. I'll go ahead and read for the record the action requested. There's several items here because of the labor agreements. First is to approve a side letter agreement between the county and the Placer Public Employees Organization to change the observance of Lincoln's Day. The second item is to approve a side letter between the county and the Placer County Deputy Sheriff's Association to change the observance of Lincoln's Day. Third, to approve a side letter agreement between the county and the Placer County Law Enforcement Management Association to change the observance of Lincoln's Day. The fourth item, to approve a side letter agreement between the county and the Deputy District Attorneys Association to change the observance of Lincoln's Day. Number 5, approve a side letter agreement between the county and the Placer County Probation Peace Officers Association to change the observance of the Lincoln's Day. 6 is to introduce the codified ordinance, waive oral reading, amending Placer County Code, Chapter 2, Section 212.010 to change the observance of Lincoln's Day. And then finally, to approve the 2026 Placer County holiday calendar, which is all of the holidays for the entirety of 2026. Happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Nicole. Appreciate that. Supervisor Gustafson?
Just a little humor. Have you forgotten anybody in all those groups?
It used to be only
I
3.
can't remember all of them, so if you've got them all.
Yes, thank you. And I do want to note that it's been a pleasure working with the labor groups. They also found it very beneficial, and their membership supports this. So it was great working with all of them. So.
Thank you.
And I would add that a lot of this, families are impacted because so many schools actually take the Mondays, and so it really is a way to help with our employees who have family members, kids who are going to school. It's just so challenging when you have different holiday schedules, so I think this ultimately benefits our families. With that, any public comment on this item? All right, seeing none, bring it back to my board for action.
I'll second.
All right, motion by Jones, second by Gustafson. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank
And then you are not finished yet. We have item 8B, which is updates to the county's holiday schedule.
Yes, thank you for having me again. The action requested is to approve a resolution granting a special 4-hour non-declared holiday in 2025 for all permanent county employees. By way of background, back in the early, actually mid-90s, your board offered this provision to all county employees. Around 2007, because of economic downturn, the board stopped providing a special 4-hour non-declared holiday. We have had much interest, and I think just in supporting our recruitment and retention efforts, we want to at least acknowledge that the board has consistently provided competitive salaries and benefit packages to attract and retain high-quality workforce. Beyond compensation, meaningful expressions of appreciation can further strengthen morale and reinforce the organization's core values. Providing special time off during the holidays represents the board's commitment to fostering goodwill and a culture of appreciation with its employees. Accordingly, a proposed for board's consideration is a resolution granting permanent employees the special 4-hour non-declared holiday in 2025 with certain criteria that is outlined within the resolution. So really looking back at how it really was supportive in many, many years ago and looking to implement that again currently. Departments are expected to remain open for business during regular working hours, business hours, Christmas Eve, and New Year's Eve, but may operate with minimal staffing levels as determined appropriate by each department head based on their operational needs. And that is how we operate now. That is not out of the ordinary in any year, where department heads are encouraged to allow staff to take time off during the holiday periods. It is in the intent to provide employees with an opportunity to enjoy additional time with their families during the holidays while ensuring that county departments remain open and available to serve the public during this time period. So thank you for your consideration. I'm available to answer or address any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Nicole. Supervisor Jones?
Yes. I think the state does this. Don't they, at least they used to, I don't know if they still do or not. They grant the 4 hours either for Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve. And so this might kind of help families who one spouse works for the county and one works for the state, then they can coincide their hours. But I also have a question on, it says to approve this 4-hour non-declared holiday in 2025. So is that from here until we determine, is it just for this year?
No, thank you for asking. This is a one-time approval for a 2025 4-hour holiday.
Only.
So if the board chose to consider this again in the future, this item would come before you next year.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you. No other questions from the board? Let's open this up to the public. Any comments from the public? All right, seeing none, we'll bring it back to the board for action.
I'll move approval.
I'll second.
Motion by Jones, second by Gustafson. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Our next item is item 9A. It is an ordinance to delete Chapter 15, Article 15.70, and Section 15.70.120 of the Placer County Code to make fee deferral program permanent. Good morning.
Good morning. Oh, that was loud, sorry. Good morning, Chair Gore, members of the board. Casey, hi, the Admin and Fiscal Operations Manager for Community Development Resource Agency. The action requested for this item today is to introduce and waive oral reading of an ordinance to delete Chapter 15, Article 15.70, Section 15.70.120 of the Placer County Code to make the fee deferral program permanent. For some background, in December 2008, the Board of Supervisors adopted an ordinance enacting Article 15.70 of Chapter 15 of the Placer County Code, establishing the fee deferral program. The program was introduced in response to the economic downturn with the goal of supporting continued development activity. This program allows the deferral of sewer connection, traffic impact, public facility, and parks and recreation fees for development projects. Under standard procedures, impact fees are due at the time of building permit issuance. The program currently offers developers 4 alternative payment triggers, allowing fees to be deferred until the earliest of the request for final inspection, request for certificate of occupancy, 2 years from the building permit issuance, or the sale or transfer of all or any portion of the property. By aligning the fee payments more closely with the timing of the actual development impacts, the program reduces upfront construction costs, thereby enhancing project feasibility and encouraging economic development. Unless otherwise extended, the program is set to expire December 31st of this year. With nearly 17 years of successful implementation of the program, the Community Development Resource Agency, with the support of all of our other impacted departments, recommends the deletion of Section 15.70.120 of the Placer County Code to make the program permanent. This recommendation also aligns with other impact fee deferral mechanisms, such as those authorized pursuant to SB 937 for residential developments. And with that, happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Questions? I have one question. What would be the longest amount of time the fees would be deferred?
It should be 2 years.
Okay. And really, I think it's for clarification because we're not deferring this for multiple years.
Correct.
It's really inspections are finished or certificate of occupancy is given, the work is done, and the buildings are ready to be occupied, pay the fees. And allows them a little bit of extra time to recoup those dollars as they're selling the properties, et cetera, and then be able to pass the money back to us. All right, just wanted to clarify. Thank you. Let's open it up to the public for any public comment. And seeing none, I'll close public comment. Bring it back to the board.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion by Gustafson, second by Jones. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much, Casey. Next, we have item 9B, which is the local adoption of the 2025 California Building Standards Code as amended.
Good morning, Chair Gore, members of the board, Mr. Chatney, and Ms. Schwab. I'm Randall Beffert, the Building Services Manager for the Building Services Division within the Community Development Resource Agency. Today, we have Tim Wegner, Deputy Director, Chief Building Official of Building Services Division, and Assistant Chief Ryan Wesner with Placer County Fire. So the action requested before the board today is introduce and waive oral reading of an ordinance repealing and reenacting Placer County Code, Chapter 15, Article 15.04, adopting the 2025 California Building Standards Code as amended. As you're aware, the California Building Standards Code is adopted on a triennial cycle in collaboration with the International Code Council. It doesn't seem like it's been 3 years. It seems like we just did this yesterday. While the state is mandating the adoption of the code, there are a couple of changes from the previous code version, the 2022, which are snow load calculations and wildland urban interface standards. The only local amendment recommended by staff relates to swimming pool barrier requirements, which will more readily mirror the state's requirements. But before we cover those changes, I'd like to speak a little bit about Assembly Bill 130. Assembly Bill 130, AB 130, was signed into law by the governor June 30th, 2025. AB 130 was effective immediately, with the key provisions being the building standards are frozen from October 1st of 2025 and will remain valid for 10 years. Master and model plans approved before January 1 of 2026 will also remain valid for 10 years. Staff prepared local amendments that are substantially equivalent to the standards in effect as of September 30th, 2025, and to be fully compliant with AB 130's limitations. As mentioned, there are limited changes to the code mandated by the state. The California Building Standards Commission rechaptered the residential code, although this didn't include any additional regulations. The most significant changes to both the residential and building codes pertains to snow load calculations and the creation of the Wildland Urban Interface Code, which is now Part 7. So first, snow loads. The state has revised how snow loads are calculated for structural design. These changes significantly impact the Gold Country and High Country regions of the county. Updates are based on the American Society of Civil Engineers Manual, ASCE 722. ASCE 722 is the nationally adopted standard for structural loading criteria. It covers various loads as in regards to dead, live, soil, seismic, tsunami, flood, wind, rain, snow, atmospheric ice, and fire. ASCE 722 was revised to incorporate more recent snow load data and reliability target values for a safer design. The goal is to ensure that all structures are structurally sound under the updated snow load expectations. A hazard tool was developed, which is a free online resource which helps engineers quickly access key design parameters. Snow loads in some areas of the county have doubled. For example, this one's a little bit more than double. Serene Lakes and Royal Gorge increased from 385 to approximately 900 pounds per square feet. This requires stronger structural designs and a more rigorous engineering practices. Engineers and designers must now incorporate higher snow load values into all designs. Staff have been working with the Tahoe Truckee Engineers Association, TTEA, to better understand the implications and streamline implementation. TTEA is developing a white paper to guide the use of the snow load hazard tool, recommend best practices for determining accurate ground snow loads, and ensure compliance during construction drawing reviews. Secondly, the state has adopted a new part of the California Code of Regulations, which is now Part 7, Wildland Urban Interface Code. This new part was also developed in collaboration with International Code Council, also known as ICC. Part 7 consolidates multiple standards into one unified code. These standards are Building Code Chapter 7A, Wildland Urban Interface Standards, Title 14, Division 1.5, CAL FIRE Regulations, and California Public Resource Standards. This covers a wide range of wildfire-related conditions and mitigation strategies. The purpose and benefits of Part 7 is it provides a single, reliable set of regulation of wildfire mitigation. It streamlines compliance for design professionals, builders, fire departments, and plans examiners. As is always as an ongoing enforcement, fire departments will continue to enforce parcel development standards such as road widths, turnarounds, turnouts, bridge specifications, and water supply requirements. CAL FIRE will continue mapping fire severity zones statewide. As for construction standards, Building Services Division will continue to enforce the use of fire-resistant construction materials with the focus on home hardening to improve wildfire resilience. The collaborative impact of the unified efforts between agencies and professionals will, three things, strengthen wildfire defense across communities, reduce the risk of widespread fire damage and loss, and create a safer, more resilient built environment. Lastly, the staff's only recommended change is regarding swimming pool barrier revisions. The purpose of the revisions is to align Placer County Code Section 15.04.320 with the California Health and Safety Code and improve clarity and consistency in barrier requirements. Staff proposed the key changes as 1, reordering of the barrier requirements to match the state's format, and an exception was added for parcels of 3 acres or larger, which provides flexibility for larger rural parcels and is based on a San Diego County's longstanding policy. This concludes my presentation, and we are available to answer any questions.
Wonderful, thank you very much, appreciate that. Any questions from my colleagues? Supervisor Gustafson.
Thank you. I mentioned this in the briefing, but I think it's important at some point to try to calculate when we have these changes, the additional cost. Because as we proceed with Dollar Creek and a housing project that the county is trying to support, I look at the snow loading and the WUI standards. We continue to add these costs to housing that I think are making it infeasible to build affordable housing, or much more challenging, requiring subsidy from the rest of the public to help. So do we ever do any calculations, or did TTEA, like on the snow loading, look at what that was going to mean in practicality? Because those are challenging issues.
Yeah, Supervisor Gustafson, Tim Wagner. No, TTA did not make any of those calculations. And what is a bit difficult is, obviously, as you can imagine, depending on the square footage size of the home, those costs would be variable. But what we could do is try to come up with some sample cost on what our more normal product looks like, or the kind of repetitive product that we have, so you could see year over year what those changes look like. With the Wild and Urban Interface this year, there aren't changes in the standard that would affect cost, because it's just compiling it into one manual.
Into one area.
Yeah, but the snow load, for sure, those costs, we will see those increase.
I mean, that's almost triple in Serene Lakes.
It is, and we're going to migrate to more of a steel product likely in the higher country than a wood frame product that can better withstand that. So we could look at some models and work with the Engineers Association about what those costs would look like if under a wood design as opposed to a steel design.
I was thinking about the costs more for us to advocate with our legislators on when they're doing these codes, to speak with some, facts that we can provide them on the cost of these desires. I mean, they're great, and as you and I talked about, I've had to rake my roof, I've had to shovel my roof, I've had to do different things over the years, but my house was built in '46. The roof is from 1946. Right. And it's survived, and I'm sure does not meet the current standards, but we don't dare touch it because then we'd have to replace everything. So we are happy to rake it once in every 5 or 10 years. But it is, it is going to be very challenging for those who can't afford housing already to look at any modifications that might make their house safer. But once they touch it, we're going to ensure that it's safe all the way around, and a little bit better doesn't make the code, right?
Right.
And so that, I think that's just a challenge I want to make the rest of the board aware of, because I can speak for why we never touched our roof as much as I would love to cut in and put some dormers in. It means a total replacement, and it's a huge cost, so.
Yeah, if I may.
So we'll
too.
continue to rake until we can't, and then.
You're gonna spend a lot of
And
money
they
on
do
a
have
roof.
those very long rakes that you can
They do.
pull it down.
They do, and if I may, with AB 130, that does help the housing industry a bit, because it is going to put a standard in place for the next 10 years up to 2032. The reason I say 10 years is it's the 2022 standard that they're still allowed to build under. So we won't see significant changes really in this 10-year period. As I've mentioned to many of you too during the briefings, that, honestly, looking back from when my career started here in 2007, we've seen such significant change to housing, and that really competes with the affordable housing needs that we have in the community. I mean, I do understand safety factors are necessary, but things that we put in place, mandatory solar, mandatory electrical vehicle charging stations, the requirement for dual fuel in homes, aging in place. Obviously, the wildland urban interface is a great standard to protect against wildfire. It's just been, the addition of residential fire sprinklers, which again I think was a great add. But, really we have, as I've mentioned to you, just, beat the crap, for my lack of better terms, out of housing over the last 10 to 15 years. So I was glad to see this AB 130 come in place. It's going to put a little more stability in that, and I don't suspect you'll see any changes unless they meet the emergency standards of that law. So I think.
Well,
we're
I
gonna see a
I
good
appreciate that. I
experience,
just,
so.
I feel a bit helpless. Like, these standards keep going up, and I doubt that any newly constructed homes under the old snow loading have collapsed. I mean, I don't know of any houses that collapsed. You brought up a couple
Right.
where there were issues in old structures, but nothing more current. And so I really wonder about the wisdom of mandating continued snow loading issues. And
Right.
yeah.
Understood.
Yeah, makes you wonder where it came from.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because, yeah.
Steel manufacturing, it sounds like.
Yeah,
You're getting pretty high. I mean, those beams would have to be pretty big, I would
Yeah,
imagine.
I mean, this was a change to the national standard, right? So the American Society of Civil Engineers, that's a national manual that's used. So it wasn't just here in California. That was a change at the national level. So other states are going to experience the same effect as well. So this was something that it wasn't the state mandating it, although the state did through this adoption of this code, but that standard would have come into place anyhow. So it would be really interesting to see what inspired that change at the Civil Engineers Association. As I mentioned, in my nearly 20 years here, I'm only aware of 2 structures that actually had snow damage. One garage that imploded, but that was, and again, a cautionary note, garage attics aren't intended for storage, and in this case they had put some storage material up there, holiday stuff and tents and things like that, and just the loading wasn't capable of withstanding the snow. And the other was a really older A-frame that probably already had some structural deterioration of the A-frame members. So but other than that, what I'm hearing from the Engineers Association is they do experience in the heavier snow years, we've had a few over the last 10, where they do have some cosmetic defects, right? Windows or doors are sticking, there's some cracking in the sheetrock.
That's when you know to rake your roof, is when you
Right.
can't
And you
use
need
your
to-
slider anymore.
Yeah, and we do a good job sending an advisory
Yeah.
out typically. We are
Yeah.
monitoring that and stay really attuned to that, so we send a snow advisory out, kind of alerting people of when to make sure they're raking their roofs and making sure their chimneys and those things are clear. So hopefully through those effects here in Placer County, we won't have see any of that, but I do hear you. It is challenging when we have these kind of national standards go into effect that do impact our affordability here.
So I want to clarify, Tim, so a national standard, then the state chose to adopt.
So it goes.
And therefore, we have to adopt it.
Yes, but the manual was already referenced in the California Code of Regulations, so once they changed the national standard, the state didn't have to re-adopt that. It was already born within the state's Code of Regulations.
And then there we go, we have to do it. And, because I can understand, right? Montana, the snow loads are different than actually in the Sierras in California.
Yes.
We do not have the snow that they have in the rest of the country.
We are like the second highest snow region in the country. So believe it or not, the Sierras do see some of the more heavier
And it
snows.
gets pretty heavy with the rain on top of snow events. That's when
That's
we've
the-
had to, because you get that weight. The snow is heavy, slushy.
So that's the old
Yeah.
Sierra cement, because
Yeah.
we get all that moisture off the coast range, as opposed to when you move more to the Midwest, the snow tends to be drier. So it can accumulate to much higher depths, but here we see it because, again, that moisture content is significantly higher.
Okay, thank
Hopefully
you.
that helps.
But, and I can see why the engineers do it. I mean, they've got to protect their liability insurance, and why we need to protect our risk and reduce our risk as a county by adopting those standards. But it comes with a cost.
It does.
And then when we go out to bid and we talk about an ADU or a multifamily housing, affordable housing, and we see the price per unit, we wonder what's going on. Why can't we deliver? Well, this is part of the reason. Even ordering the manufactured homes now.
Right.
What will that mean to the standards of the modular construction that I see going up in Truckee right now on the affordable housing project? And it's remarkable how quick they've been able to put that together, if you haven't driven by the old CHP station in Truckee. But I can't imagine what those modular units will look like now with the new standards, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe I could add one more thing. You know, we are audited about every 5 years by the Insurance Service Office, or better known as ISO. So it rates fire, the Sheriff's Department, Public Works Department, and my operation. We get a community rating for that. And what happens is the Insurance Service Office works with insurance carriers, and that allows premium discounts. So the better our rating is, the more premium discounts that the community receives. So by having fewer dramatic events, fires, collapses because of snow, wind, rain, things to that effect, it does help our overall insurance rates. And I know in California, we do need that assistance. So in the end, it does help us bring down some of our costs. But I do hear you, sometimes it's really challenging with the standard changes and the affordability of homes.
Well, and we'll see it with our new sheriff's substation, because that Burton Creek station, I'm sure, doesn't meet
Right.
any codes anywhere, so, anyway.
Supervisor DiMattei?
Thank you. Thanks, Tim, for the briefing, and also thanks for the added awareness that I've been telling some of my friends, and actually myself, that overloading our garages and our attics with stuff that we probably don't need does take an engineering toll on the roof itself, because it's not designed for that load. And with that extra load, you do have that pull in. So thanks for bringing that to our attention, so we can get that out to the rest of the public as well. So
yeah, my pleasure.
Stop hoarding.
Yeah.
So you're saying you can't have too many Christmas decorations, is what you're saying?
My husband's been telling me that for years.
In your attic.
Yes, in your attic, correct, right.
Keep me in your garage, not
Yes.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Let's see. Let's open this item up to the public. Are there any questions or comments from members of the public? Anybody online? No. All right. Then we'll bring it back to the board for action.
Move approval.
This was just an introduction today, so I don't believe there's any
Oh, it's just a
action
oral reading.
necessary.
Oh, this is just the introduction.
We still need to adopt the introduction.
Oh, but we still need to adopt the introduction.
Okay,
So let's
right.
adopt the introduction. I heard a motion from Supervisor
Approval, yes.
DiMattei.
And I will second.
Second from Supervisor Gustafson. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And next we have item 10A, which is the Juvenile Detention Facility Solar Field. Good morning, Brad. I love saying good morning, and we're almost at the end of all of the action items.
Good morning, Chair Gore and fellow board members, Daniel and Karen. I'm Brad Boulay, Deputy Director with the Department of General Services. Today I'm here to present to you a replacement solar project. I do have a slideshow for you. So we're going to do the fun part first. Looks like we're going to read the actions requested. So the first action is to authorize the Assistant Director of General Services or designee to award and execute a design-build construction contract with Coldwell Solar, Inc. for the Juvenile Detention Facility solar field not to exceed $2,349,322, subject to County Council and Risk Management concurrence. Second item is authorize the Assistant Director of General Services or designee to execute any necessary change orders in an amount not to exceed $129,966, consistent with the county purchasing policy and section 20142 of the Public Contract Code. Item 3, authorize the Assistant Director of General Services or designee to execute the PG&E interconnection agreement subject to County Council and Risk Management concurrence. Action 4, authorize the Assistant Director of General Services or designee to execute a 5-year operations and maintenance contract for the juvenile detention solar field in the amount of $94,588, subject to County Council and Risk Management concurrence. Item 5, approve the option to renew the operations and maintenance contract for an additional 5-year term in the maximum amount of $107,018. Item 6, approve a fiscal year 2025-26 budget amendment AM 01249 for facilities capital projects in the amount of $2,595,783, offset by a contribution from the general fund and for general fund contribution to facilities and infrastructure in the amount of $2,595,783, and cancel general fund capital assets reserves in the amount of $2,595,783. And action 7, determine that the requested actions are exempt, each on a separate and independent basis from California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA, review pursuant to CEQA Guidelines Section 15303, new construction or conversion of small structures, Section 15304, minor alterations to land, and Section 15301, existing facilities. Okay, what I'm showing is an aerial view, sort of a zoom in of the Placer County Government Center. Just for reference, the red roof building is the juvenile detention facility. Upper left is the animal control facility, and upper right is the Auburn Justice Center. On October 25th, 2022, the Board of Supervisors approved a termination agreement between the County of Placer and MCP Solar Asset Partners, LCC, for this photovoltaic PV system due to faulty solar panels. The original contract was a power purchase agreement where the developer owned, installed, and maintained the solar system. The county purchased electricity generated by the PV system at a fixed pre-agreed rate per kilowatt produced. The solar field was sized to offset kilowatt demand at the juvenile detention facility only and was expected to produce 575,348 kilowatts annually. The removal of the PV system was done by MCP at no cost to the county. As a result, the juvenile detention facility is no longer receiving electrical offset credits against the PG&E bill and or nor achieving greenhouse gas reduction towards the Placer County Sustainability Plan goals. The blue aerial on the overhead shows the old system before removal. The site is fully fenced, and we retain the equipment shed in the upper right corner and the underground conduit to the Juvenile Detention Center electric room. Subsequently, staff released a request for proposal on June 24th, 2025 for the new replacement solar system. This will occupy the exact same footprint, but with greater system output. And my next slide will show the variance. So based on technology advancements in solar panels, this new system will produce almost 3 times the kilowatt output for the same footprint. This new solar system is projected to offset the juvenile detention facility and animal control, with any excess now being put to the Auburn Justice Center. So based on the pro forma financials from our RFP, the successful RFP respondent beat our original pro forma cost estimate of $2.7 million for the total solar system cost. RFP cost options included a cash purchase, a 15-year lease purchase, and a power purchase agreement. All 3 cost models were presented, and a cash purchase was recommended by the Placer County Finance Committee on September 15th, 2025. Based on the cash model, 30-year cumulative net savings are projected to be over $18 million, with average annual savings over $600K. Additional cost components for this project are a 5-year maintenance agreement, PG&E transformer upgrade based on the system impact study, and the project contingency. We are also pursuing a tax credit based on the Inflation Reduction Act, which provides for investment tax credit for exempt entities. We're going to submit this project for consideration. Under this program, the IRS provides a check for the tax credit awarded. We'll be pursuing this tax credit with the help of MGO Tax Consulting. While not guaranteed, any tax credit received will enhance our investment in this project. So with that, that concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that report. And Daniel, you wanted to correct something?
Yeah, I would like, Brad, if you could correct action requested, action item number 6, the budget amendment items. You read into the record earlier, 2.5 million. 2,595,783. The staff report and the item on the agenda is 2,583,283.
Okay, would you like me to reread the entire?
Yeah. And
Item 6, okay.
Yeah.
Approve a fiscal year 2025-26 budget amendment, AM 01249 for facilities capital projects in the amount of $2,583,283, offset by a contribution from the general fund, and for general fund contribution to facilities and infrastructure in the amount of $2,583,283, and cancel general fund capital asset reserves in the amount of $2,583,283.
Super. Thank you for that clarification.
Thank you for
Sometimes
the
we
correction.
miss numbers. All right. Any questions from my colleagues? All right, we will open this up to the public. Any questions from the public? Bring it back. I have one question, which is you had mentioned the tax credits. I'm surprised that there are still tax credits available, but if there are, and we need help from our congressman, let's ask our congressman in his office to advocate for us while we still have him local. So
It was good to have some horsepower.
it never hurts. They've been very helpful. All right, without any further conversation, we can, he's read all the actions into the record.
I'll move approval.
I'll second.
All right, motion by Jones, second by Landon, and we'll do a roll call, please.
DeMattei?
Yes.
Jones?
Aye.
Gustafson?
Aye.
Landon?
Yes.
Gore?
Aye. Thank you, Brad. Appreciate that very much.
I appreciate your time. Thank you.
All right, save money. That's a good thing. Okay, next is closed session. We'll have county council read our steps for closed session.
The board will now adjourn to closed session to consider 2 items of existing litigation.
All right, we will be back.
Before everybody runs out,
We are back from closed session, and I will have county council report out.
The board met in closed session considering the following two items under existing litigation. In estate of Christopher Temple versus the County of Placer, the board heard a report and provided direction on a 5-0 vote. In the matter of Friends of the West Shore versus County of Placer, the board heard a report and provided direction on a 5-0 vote. This concludes the report out of closed session.
Thank you, Karen, and with that, we are adjourned until our next meeting, which will be on Monday, November 17th, but here in Auburn in the morning. All right, with that, we are adjourned.